Good morning and welcome to the Zen Zone at Brash Consulting. I'm Leanne Faraday-Brash, Principal of Brash Consulting, and today is the first day of National Psychology Week, so I thought I would do this video. So many people are talking about mindfulness, and yet one of the things I've found over the last couple of years is that people have worked out that it might be something that's really helpful to them, but in their lack of understanding and what they perceive to be a lack of success in leading a more mindful life, they end up feeling worse than if they hadn't embraced mindfulness at all. #irony. So I thought I would start today with a simple yet really powerful message about one way we can reach for mindfulness, and that is basically to pay attention followed by intention. Again, attention and intention in a way to lead a more mindful life. One of the ways in which it was depicted many years ago by a wonderful counselor who worked with one of my children was to say that we were going to attempt to become a better boss of our own thoughts. And I thought, what a wonderful way to depict mindfulness. So let's begin. Let me ask you about the way in which you approach today. Did you give some thought to what you were going to be doing today? Did you tap into your own state, how you were feeling? Did you think about the extent to which what you intended to do for the day really accorded with your values? Was there something you've been wanting to do for a long time and you haven't addressed? Is that accompanied by feelings of frustration or guilt or even shame because you're paying attention to something but it hasn't actually resulted in any meaningful action? So ask yourself, where am I at? What am I feeling? What are the milestones today that are really important? How do they accord with my values? And what am I going to do to feel as if I've achieved some success in allowing what I care about to be followed by some action that reinforces the fact that I genuinely care about it? 9 months ago, I went to a professional speakers convention. I go every year. And they had discounted equipment and I'm using it now. Now remember, that was 9 months ago. And I said I was going to do videos. But then something took hold of me and I found my internal voice got really quite loud. I was thinking, Leanne, is this just a case of following everybody else and being a copycat? Roll your eyes, because everybody else is doing LinkedIn videos now. So that was one of the things that was talking to me. Then I started worrying about the quality and whether or not the audio would be good enough, whether or not I would present well enough, whether or not I would stumble over my words. And that became another reason to sabotage my attempts to actually follow through in doing videos that in some way can reach so many more people than if I'm sitting executive coaching one person sitting across from me at a cafe at table 35. The third thing that took hold of me was the fact that it would mean I would have to send my video away or grasp the issue of subtitles, have a conversion to an SRT file, and then attach that SRT file to my video in the hope that they would align with each other and I would ultimately end up with something that I could upload to LinkedIn. Any or all of these things were enough of a reason to get in my way for the last 9 months. And it was really only the fact that it was National Psychology Week and that equipment was still sitting there that I actually jumped up this morning, decided that I was going to get busy with this, pulled all the equipment out, threw it all over the carpet, and some of it is sitting there off camera before I could talk myself out of it. So very quickly, with that little personal story, I think there are a few strategies I'm going to leave you with. The first one is pay attention each day on rising to one thing we're going to do today. Make sure that that one thing that we're paying attention to aligns with our values, that it's something that's genuinely important, not white noise. When we think about what we pay attention to, strive for some balance. Are we only ever paying attention to the things we don't do well? Are we only ever paying attention to the gaps, the deficits? Or are we also paying attention to those things we are doing well, where we can wrap our arms around each other and say, you know what, that was difficult. And 6 months ago, you may not even have had that courageous conversation. You did good. Now, I know that's not grammatical. I don't even care. But let's make sure that when we pay attention, we're paying attention to balanced things. That we're mixing the negative and the growth mindset with an affirmation of what we're doing well, that what we've strived to do is also bearing fruit for us. Otherwise, all we can do is pay mind to the things that actually drag us down or fill us with guilt or shame or frustration. The other thing I'm going to ask you to do is, where you feel some resistance, as I did after I'd spent the several $100s on the technology, where did that resistance come from? Now, in my case, that came from a fear that I was going to be pedestrian and simply copycat what other people had done, concerned that the quality wouldn't be good enough, and don't we all have those not quite good enough fears? And the possibility that I was going to have to get my head around technology and make a change and do things that were uncomfortable and do a whole lot of research and exploration before I would get to the finished product. Once I understood what that resistance was, I realized I needed to get out of my own way, get up this morning and try to actually get going with this before I could talk myself out of it. So, the simple yet powerful message today is paying attention, striving for intention, but making sure that we're focusing each day on something that might actually be affirming and make us feel better about ourselves and the progress we've made, not only about those gaps we need to bridge. Have a great National Psychology Week. I'll speak to you soon.